KTM pretty much had the entire country super stoked when they broke news that they would be bringing this motorcycle, the 390 Enduro R, out here to India. Because, well, if you fancied the motorcycle in the pictures and you checked out the spec sheet, well, this was pretty much KTM's version of a dirt bike. We finally have a chance to get our hands on it out here at the Pro Dirt Academy in Pune, on the outskirts of Pune. And without wasting any more time, let's see what this motorcycle has brought to the table. In terms of design aesthetics, the 390 Enduro is a proper dirt bike, minus the pronounced exhaust can. And of course, it's not as hardcore looking as something like the EXE-F 6 days bikes in KTM's lineup. Now, minimalist styling is paramount with this kind of motorcycle, and the 390 Enduro looks great in the flesh. It's got a headlamp unit which looks like it's been taken straight out of the 690 Enduro's parts bin. It's got chunky Mitas tires on the 21 18-inch spoke wheels, but it's not a tubeless setup like it is with the 390 Adventure. Now, KTM say that the reason for this is down to the type of battering that this bike is expected to take while riding off-road. Ride hard, hit an immovable object with the front wheel, and a bent rim would almost certainly signal the end of your excursion on a bike with tubeless tires. Not exactly so with a tube setup. Moving on. Now, unlike the 390 Enduro model that's available abroad, this India spec bike out here gets the same suspension units, which are WP Apex units, as the 390 Adventure, albeit in a slightly altered tune. The open cartridge fork up front has 30 clicks of rebound and compression and 200 mm of travel, while the monoshock at the rear offers some preload and compression settings with 205 mm of travel. The suspension setup overseas offers 230 mm of travel at both ends, which is way more than what it is out here. The bike panels are PPF coated, which means that when you drop this bike, none of the Grey's graphic panels will look super bad. And this India spec model gets a sari guard, a crash guard, and some grab handles for it to be deemed road legal out here. And these bits on there mean that the curb weight of this motorcycle is now up to 177 kgs, which is rather heavy for a dirt bike. Now, another odd bit for me has to be the round mirrors and the weight adding parts, obviously, which don't really match the persona of this motorcycle. It's as though KTM is visually implying what's not supposed to be there in the first place. Now, when it comes to features, the 390 Enduro doesn't come with a long list like that on the 390 Adventure. There's no multi-axis IMU, so that leaves cornering ABS, cornering traction control all left out. And there's no cruise control on there too because, well, this isn't a bike that's ideally meant for touring. But you do get some Bluetooth connectivity and turn-by-turn navigation on that neat, slim and wide color TFT unit that is surprisingly good to read out information. You get two customizable ride modes, which are street and off-road, to toggle through using the joystick. And the 399cc liquid-cooled LC4C engine that powers the Enduro is in the same state of tune as it is in the 390 Adventure, and it even puts down identical power and torque figures of 46 PS and 39 Nm. But on this motorcycle, well, it is running a 1448 sprocket setup, which means that it has got two additional teeth at the back as compared to the 390 Adventure, and also it's running an 18-inch wheel at the back, while the Adventure runs a 17. Alright, now in terms of riding aids and electronics, you just have traction control and ABS. Both are switchable on this motorcycle, and ABS can be completely switched off even at the front thanks to that dedicated button. You have a nice display, very minimalistic, but yeah, it is quite functional, very easy to read on the go. And yeah, in my opinion, on a motorcycle of this category, well, you want the lesser the better, because you're going to be riding rough, you're going to be riding hard on this kind of bike. It's going to take a couple of tosses, things are going to go awry, and the less you have, well, the less you'll have to fix. That's something to think about. But yeah, as far as functionality goes, this bike has just what you need, and it's pretty much on point. Out here, I got to check out a proper dirt track graced with everything including ruts, jumps, berms, and even explode some trails with loose stones, gravel, some rocks, all while blitzing along the hillside. It got super hot out here, so we went to cool things down in a river at one point. and later dried off with some airtime. The Enduro managed everything I threw at it with a great sense of composure. The chassis and the subframe are identical to that on the 390 Adventure, and it just feels so good when you're pushing on this bike. The Enduro feels sound when you need it to be, and it's also easy to unsettle to change directions super quick with this one. A highlight of the 390 Enduro is the fact that you have a good amount of shove on tap low down the power band on account of the altered gearing and those Mitas tires that work ever so well on loose surfaces. Feel like you're going to get stuck anywhere on your adventurous trail, and just ring the throttle and you'll power out in a jiffy. Once you get used to the throttle calibration in the two ride modes, the bike is so easy to get used to riding. In its stock setting, the Enduro suspension appeared even more composed, and it did not bottom out as easily as the Adventure did. I think that if you ride the 390 Enduro and the latest second gen 390 Adventure back to back, you'll find yourself feeling a lot more confident and much faster tackling the rough stuff on the 390 Enduro on account of the power delivery and the dynamic configuration. The calibration of the brakes too is superb on this bike, given my expectations and its capabilities. Alright, now in terms of seating and ergonomics, you have a nice flat bench seat. It is higher than something like the 390 Adventure, and ground clearance is up as well. Now the tank is nice and narrow. You have a smaller tank, it's a 9-liter tank on here. Handlebar is nice and wide. You have some risers on there, and that means your seating position, well, it doesn't feel as bunched together. Your legs don't feel as bunched together as they do on the 390. For somebody of my size and frame, standing on the motorcycle also feels a lot better, although I would like to have it a little taller for me. But yeah, in terms of riding and off-road, well, you do get a nice grip of the bike with your midsection, with your legs, and the nice wide handlebar gives you a nice feel of things. You don't have that windscreen obstructing your view or anything like that. Nice and airy as well all throughout, and yeah, it feels nice, especially off-road for somebody of my size and shape. So right out of the box, it does feel a lot better, a lot more capable, especially when you're riding off-road. Both the 390 Adventure and the 390 Enduro models offer you a good amount of customization options as far as riding goes. But the taller you are, the more you'll fancy the Enduro. Alright, so now it's time to address the elephant in the room. What is the big difference between the 390 Enduro and the 390 Adventure? Well, in short, the answer is the 390 Adventure is a dual-purpose motorcycle that allows you to go off-road, but it is more road-biased, and that allows you to do a good amount of touring on this one as well. Whereas the 390 Enduro, on the other hand, well, this one tilts more in favor of off-road agility. So if you plan on doing a good amount of long-distance touring, the Enduro won't be the ideal choice for you, especially from the KTM stable. The 390 Adventure will be more up your alley with the way it performs and what it has to offer in terms of features, like the windscreen, the bigger tank, and the electronic suite. Now, if you're looking for a brisk city runabout, complete with the dirt bike aesthetic, or even better, are actually into riding around a dirt track quick, or basically riding fast off-road, the 390 Enduro is more suited to your needs. The major difference here lies in the level of performance and composure at managing the performance off-road. And of course, the amount of features that you would want to have on your motorcycle. So yes, the KTM 390 Enduro isn't for everyone. The Enduro is meant for those who love to aim for the whole shot, who want to change direction with the whack of a throttle, get the tail out, brake hard, lean the bike in before hitting the berms, leap off tabletops, blitz through the whoops, that kind of thing. The 390 Enduro is in essence a lovely dirt bike from KTM, but the unfortunate bit is that we don't see the model out here with the setup that the international spec model gets, which is the full-blown suspension with 230mm of travel and also a taller seat. Now, while the difference in numbers might appear minimal on paper, they make a massive difference while you're riding out in the real world. The 390 Enduro will take on the likes of bikes like the CRF 300L in international markets, but out here, the closest rival comes in the form of the Kawasaki KLX 230, which is more expensive, it is lighter, but with less features and power on tap. Now, to sum things up out here with the KTM 390 Enduro R, yes, of course, now some of you will be disappointed with the fact that this motorcycle isn't as tall or doesn't offer you as much suspension travel as the model that you get abroad. But considering the average Indian height and usage, uh, consumer case scenarios, well, this motorcycle, the way it's set up in its stock form, it gives you just the right amount of power. It's a good balance between power, functionality, and yes, form as well. So it doesn't have stuff like the 3-axis IMU, so there's no cornering, ABS, traction control, none of that jazz. The amount of electronics you have on there, just the ABS, traction control, completely switchable. You can switch it off at the front as well, the ABS, and that's really nice. That's something you really want or you expect from a motorcycle of this caliber, because this is meant to be, well, a dirt bike at the end of it. Given the limited amount of options you have in the market in this particular category, well, this is a very sound package as it stands.